Yes, it's finally here after what seems like several years. Eden is finally on Netflix, and I've checked out the series, and this is my review on it, so let's jump into it. Eden was a 4-episode original series released on Netflix. It was directed by Yasuhiro Irie, who of course did Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and the music was done by Kevin Pinkin, who is well known for doing the Made in Abyss music, Shield Hero, as well as Under the Dog. The series takes place about 1,000 years after mankind has disappeared. It follows a couple of robots, one being E92 and A37, and these robots, while doing their routine of collecting apples and taking them to a distribution center, eventually come across a capsule, and inside this capsule is a small girl named Sarah, who apparently was cryo-froze, and they have just released her, and they start taking care of her. Now, while one of the robots is pretty much like, discovered human, humans bad, report human, the other one's kind of like, I'll do it later. She needs food, she needs sleep, she needs all this kind of stuff. And over time, as these robots are taking care of this girl, they eventually start to kind of form, I would say, some kind of robotic bond to this girl, trying to figure out what she wants, how to take care of her, and all the while kind of keeping her a secret from the guard robots to come by that if they found her, they would take her away, and who knows what would happen to her because, again, these robots see humans as dangerous. At some point, they decide that in order to keep her safe, they have to take her to robots that are deemed to think that humans created them. Because it seems like most robots don't believe this, but apparently there is a group of rebel robots that believe that humans created them, and they want to serve humans. And so they eventually go out to try to find these particular robots and seek their aid. And as the story progresses, we have a time skip where Sarah eventually grows up, and at this point she's starting to wonder, why am I the only human? Where's the other humans? Are there other humans? The kind of loneliness that she sees in the fact that she is the only of her type. She's surrounded by robots that take care of her and she's formed bonds with, but she kind of wants to have that relationship with other humans, try to seek them out. So you'll kind of over time follow her as she does that. But yeah, that kind of opens up the story. It is kind of one of those things where this is technically almost a movie length in that area, so it's kind of difficult to get in too much because of how short it is. Being only a 4-episode series running about 20 minutes each episode, you're looking at about movie length series here, and that's kind of both the issue and the benefit to this series overall as I get into my thoughts on it. Being only 4 episodes, it does really feel like the story tries to move very, very fast and tries to cover all of its bases as it gets through its story. Now, it's kind of technically a pretty simple story. It's a story that technically has been treaded on in the past on the idea of, a world without humans. Get into what happened to humans bad, humans did this, should humans exist, are all kind of those typical subjects that are hit on this one. And I honestly don't think it really treads on anything new. I did like the journey, and I think that's really the beneficial aspect of the story. It's short, simple, and it does cover some really great moments during that journey. But at the same time, it does technically struggle in the idea that it's treading on typical waters here. And that's not to say there's no twists and turns. They do get in some interesting stuff with the robot that is trying to, essentially take down any humans. His name is Zero. They do get some interesting stuff with him, but other than that, they don't really tread on much of new waters. Like I said, it's really hitting on the usual humans bad kind of aspect of the story. But at the same time, there's these little nuggets of uniqueness about the story itself. Again, Zero, Sarah herself, her struggle with, trying to seek others that are like her is an interesting aspect that was added to it. Seeing these two robots that essentially are her mother and father, essentially trying to figure out what makes her the way she is. There's this cute little moment where she discovers this video of humans dancing, and one of the robots decides, I want to dance. Well, why are you dancing? Well, I want to figure out emotions so I can understand why Sarah thinks the way that she does. It's a robot trying so desperately to understand emotions when in actuality it's just a robot. And that kind of trying to discover something that it really technically can't was really endearing and really cute. As for visuals and music, obviously music is fantastic. Kevin Pinkin delivers again. His music somehow manages to take something that is, this level and just shoots it up when his music kicks in. And the way that they directed his music and put it into the actual show itself really did amplify a lot of the scenes and really did allow me to get immersed into the show itself. On the other hand, yes, we do have a dealing with CGI. This show is full CGI. They did do a really interesting cel-shaded look to it, so it does look really cool, and it does kind of have that anime aesthetic. I think overall it looks fantastic. I think the directing work they did to it, it looks great. A lot of the shots are fantastic. A lot of the more action-oriented shots are really fantastic. And there was only a few times where I really did feel like that, that anime CGI ugliness reared its head. And it was only like certain shots of Sarah where it kind of looks a little wonky the way that she turns her face, and it doesn't really look very anime-esque. It almost looks like it's trying to mimic an anime, and it doesn't really work. So yeah, other than, technically the later parts of the series really just doing the usual humans bad kind of storyline for this whole thing. Other than that, it was a really entertaining journey. I really did like following Sarah. I really did kind of hurt for her. I wanted her to kind of discover humans again, and all the ways that kind of unveil all that stuff is really well done. Kind of throwing in there, like I said, fantastic directing work, some really solid CGI work, cel-shaded look, fantastic music mixed in there with it. It's a really cool little kind of 4-episode story that I think doesn't really take too much of your time, and if you just have a couple hours of your time available, just check it out. I think it's a really solid series. But that is my thoughts on Eden, a series that finally hit Netflix. If you guys like this review, definitely leave a like down below. Comment, let me know what you thought of the series if you're going to check it out. Subscribe if you haven't already, and y'all take care.